feel like you manifested Blaze.
Yeah.
Like, you were mentioning another child before I got pregnant.
Yeah, true.
Like, you manifested Blaze.
Yeah.
On our first date, you were talking about a Blaze, not him exactly.
Yeah.
But you were talking about a Blaze. So you agree with that?
I do agree with that. I think that and you
Because
know,
we talked about kids.
yeah, true. But just so you guys know, because you guys are, beautiful women. You guys are still like women, right? But men, right? Men see a baddie, we think like, I'm gonna get her pregnant. That's what men think when
So
they see a baddie.
you gamed me.
You gamed me.
I'm just
Hey,
asking.
I'm just saying, when a man really sees a woman that that he likes and it's a baddie, that be our first thought. Like we be thinking like, damn, like I would have a baby by that. So yeah, I'm manifested. I'm manifesting.
Gamed.
Yeah, game manifested thing. And I'm at the point now where I haven't even taken Blaze for, I went on a walk, but I don't believe in taking kids from their mom too early because like they're just so little and precious. And it rang true. Remember I told you I don't change diapers? Have I changed one? See, she don't like that shit, by the way.
No, I really feel like if you have a child and you are more than able, your hands are working, your fingers are fine, you have no arthritis, that you are more than able to help and wipe your child's ass too, if you can wipe your own. Because when he's 50, let's say, what are you going to be, 112? Yeah. You might need someone to wipe yours.
I got Harlem.
Yeah. And God willing, he does it. But did you wipe his? Yeah, like this is all, it comes around.
Yeah, but I did tell you I don't change diapers from the beginning, before he was born. Did you think it was going to change? Like I would actually like flip and like do it?
I did. I did. I thought that like, because you are in a different decade and you're having a child, however many
different
years
decade
later,
is wild.
Earlier I spoke about expectations of what you said were going to be delivered. And
hi ladies, welcome back to my channel. So today I want to talk about the Evelyn Lozada podcast episode that she had with her daughter Shanice and the game. I want to highlight some very important things as it pertains to the mother-daughter dynamic, because this dynamic that we saw play out on the show is something that is very common amongst many women. Obviously, these are not Black women, but it is something that many Black women and just women of color in general, just women in general, can relate to as it pertains to fractured relationships between mothers and their daughters. Specifically, pick-me mothers and the daughters that they create, which are often gullible, which are often kind of doe-eyed. They kind of have a very untainted, happy-go-lucky outlook on life, right? They don't see the dangers of what exists out there because their mothers failed to protect them and failed to equip them with the skills that are necessary to avoid men like the game. And this is often done on purpose because women like Evelyn, as I've said before, she's a pick-me. Women like Evelyn do not like their daughters. They do not like other women, and that also extends to the women that they birth. And I'm going to talk about that much later. And I just want to preface this video by saying that I'm not going to be talking too much about the game because it's very apparent if you are a regular supporter, you will already know my stance on the game. He's a loser. That kind of goes without saying. So I'm not surprised that he said what he said, because his messaging as it pertains to relationships and as it pertains to how he sees women has not changed. It has remained consistent. But I want to address this dynamic between Evelyn and her daughter because it is very important. And many of you who are listening, whether you are a supporter or not, can relate to this dynamic because you have either lived it with your mother or mother figure, your grandma, whoever, or you are currently going through this and you're wondering why you're a people pleaser. You are wondering why you're constantly in relationships with broken men. And yes, your father plays a part in shaping the type of man that you are attracted to, but your mother is the one who is supposed to teach you the rules, right? Your mother is the one who's supposed to train you to be a woman. And if your mother is a pick-me, then she only knows how to create another pick-me. But because she's a pick-me, she is oftentimes going to be in competition with you because she wants to be chosen over every other woman, including her own daughter, and will often use malicious tactics, whether she recognizes it or not, whether she intends to or not, to level the playing field and eliminate the competition. And a lot of pick-me women see their daughters as competition. It's very important that you remember that as I go through this video. So as you saw in the clips, the game admitted that he pretty much trapped Shanice, who is Evelyn's daughter, with a baby. He had said from the beginning that, every man, and it's not every man, by the way, it's every industry loser, but Shanice's relationship with the game was all set up by Evelyn to see her daughter fail, because women like Evelyn who have trauma, they hate younger and just other women in general for either achieving a better outcome than they did or simply not making the same mistakes the same exact way that they did. Why? Because it points to the reality that you made that mistake. You were the one who had the power to change your outcome, to have a different outcome, a different trajectory. But you were the one who chose the path that you were on anyway. And so therefore you have nobody to blame for your actions but yourself. This matters to what we saw recently on this podcast, this episode. Evelyn grew up in the Bronx with humble beginnings. She had her daughter Shanice at 17 years old. So she got pregnant at 16, had Shanice at 17. And then some time passed. So she had her daughter, I think 1992 or 93. And then a few years later, she met Antoine Walker in 98. He's an NBA player. And he wasted her time by being engaged to her for 10 years. Then she married Chad Ochocinco Johnson for a couple months. That's what got her on the Basketball Wives show in 2012. That ended. A year later, she dated MLB player Carl Crawford and had a child with him, her son. Then she dated French Montana in 2017 and then dated Lavon Lewis in 2022, and the relationship ended in 2023. So Evelyn is just like Thanos, she's the ring collector. But all jokes aside, she very clearly did not know what it meant to be a self-sufficient, self-actualizing woman because of her humble upbringing. She was raised in poverty. And so just like many other women back in the early 2000s, the 90s, early 2000s, because the 90s and the early 2000s was very much male-centered, women were encouraged to get paired very quickly with a man. Okay, whether that be get married to him and let him take care of you and provide for you, or in Evelyn's case, because she had a child at 17, and unfortunately that kind of reduced her availability in the dating pool because of the type of men that she wanted. The quickest and easiest way for her was to go and pick up an entertainer. And Evelyn used her beauty incorrectly to do so, to get a man to care for her. And I say incorrectly because she only targeted low-tier industry men because they were easy targets who didn't require much effort or attributes on her part, rather than her using her beauty in conjunction with skills and education to become self-sufficient, gain access to wealth, and thereby attract higher quality men, the way that Lauren Sanchez did. And I mentioned Lauren Sanchez because people will try to lump her into the same category as women like Evelyn, which is the dumb bimbo category, because they think that all beautiful women are dumb and all beautiful women are the same. But Lauren is a self-made, highly accomplished woman who had a net worth of $30 million before she met Jeff Bezos. It's natural that Lauren would attract a much better quality man, whereas the most that Evelyn could get was low-tier athletes and entertainers. And I just want to press on this point a little bit further before I move on. People like to lump beautiful women again into the bimbo category to placate their bias and their cognitive dissonance that beauty and brains cannot go together, and that you can either be either or, but never both. And when you are a beautiful woman who is smart, like Lauren Sanchez, oftentimes, even though she has a long rap sheet of being successful, she's an Emmy award-winning talk show host, news reporter. She started her own film production company, which allowed her to earn the $30 million. No man handed her $30 million because they thought she was beautiful and that she deserved it. She went out there and used her beauty to get access to certain spaces, but she had the skills, the personality, the knowledge to keep her in those spaces so that she can continue to earn $30 million. So there's this cognitive dissonance that people like to try to project and negotiate when they see a woman having both, but because they can't make sense of the fact that you're both beautiful and smart, they will try to lump you in the same category as Evelyn, even though you have a long history and track record of being the opposite. But back to Evelyn. Rather than exposing her daughter to the finer things in life, like how Kimora Lee Simmons did with her daughters, and I mentioned Kimora because they're both from the same industry, sports and entertainment. They both married men in that industry. They had similar outcomes, and they raised their daughters differently. Kimora did a very good job of raising her daughters to be self-sufficient and to use their beauty to get more money, to capitalize off of that and privilege that by exposing them to the modeling and fashion industry from a very, very young age through her Baby Fat brand. So when you can see many times where Kimora would be on the runway after a fashion show, she would always walk the runway with her two girls. And then she would have her girls modeling and wearing her clothing as a way to, first of all, gain confidence that, they belong in that space and that they can do the job, but also to earn their own money, and for other brands and producers to see her daughters and want to hire them because they have the experience. Evelyn didn't do that. As soon as she got money, she did not think about her daughter's well-being. She just thought about making sure that she stayed paired and attached to one man at all times. And her daughter kind of got the breadcrumbs of that outcome by being able to have a roof over her head, the very basics, which pales in comparison to the treatment that she gives her son, where she made sure that her son has access to the same opportunities that his father, Carl Crawford, has, by making sure that she positions him to be a successful MLB player, where he can follow in his father's footsteps and pretty much have a ready-made career set up for him. Evelyn did not make any preparations for her daughter to be successful, which is why Jackie, I think it was Jackie from Basketball Wives, called Shanice a Bilda, WHORE, because that's all that Evelyn was imparting on her daughter. Gain a man's affection and attention by lying on your back and letting him have his way, instead of saying, okay, you're in these spaces where you have now access to men and people who have resources and wealth untold. Go and rub shoulders with these people in these upper echelon spaces and get a better outcome for yourself. And this is because, aside from Evelyn being a pick-me, she still operates in survival mode, where, she's teaching her daughter to get it from the mud by taking a man down, because that's the only way that she knows how to mobilize herself as a woman, is in conjunction with going after a man's resources while having nothing of her own for herself. And that once you snag an athlete, a musician, whatever, you'll be set for life, because this plays upon the stereotype that athletes and artists are stupid and therefore easy to manipulate to get what you want, and that your beauty alone will keep you there. But obviously, as the game had said on the show, like indirectly, this is false, because these men have evolved and have caught onto your tricks, number one, for those who genuinely do care about being in a relationship with you. But number two, this is also a game for men like the game, where they see a beautiful woman and it is their mission and their duty to humble her and try to immobilize her so that she's fully dependent on him and is not able to go out there and prosper on her own, because they don't want to see you doing better, because they hate you. So when you have a mother who hates you, and that has been your socialization your entire life, it is natural that you're going to be attracted to a man who also hates you and who also wants to humble you the same way that your mother did. And Shanice admitted to this. She said that, she thinks that her mom and the game are very similar, which maybe she didn't realize it until after the fact. That is primarily what drew her to that man in general.
You guys remind me of each other a lot.
We tell each other that every other day.
And when I met you, actually, you reminded me of my mom a lot, obviously two Sagittariuses, but very defiant and defensive and stubborn. But I think that I dealt with it with you because I dealt with it with her. Yeah. You're a little bit more, because you're a man, obviously, so naturally. But I think that, yeah, it was not as easy to deal with it with you, but it was familiar because I dealt with it with you, or even with my dad a little bit, actually. Yeah. So
yeah, we're similar in a lot of ways. Sometimes Shaw's like, you just want to understand what he's saying or whatever, and I'm just like, well, I kind of do, so I don't know if it is a sign thing or whatever, but
I think it's a sign thing, right?
I'm sure she was exposed to many other suitors that were much better than the game, but because she has not dealt with and resolved her trauma of trying to please and placate her pick-me mother. She's going to go after someone who is similar in personality to her mother, which happens to be a man who wants to destroy her and humble her and immobilize her by trapping her with a baby. So instead of her getting her heart broken, crying about it, and then moving on child-free to now be free to go and marry someone else, now she has to always consider her child. Now she has to always think about, okay, I'm going to have less options because, you know, a good chunk of men will not date a woman who has a child from another man. But also, even if he will date you, even if you have a child with another man, you have to think, does this guy have good intentions? Is he safe for me to bring my child around? She's always going to have this factor to bring in, and the game knows that. And he made it clear in the show that he's not going to marry her.
So if Shaw got married, so Shaw gets married next year,
Yeah.
right?
Now, if Shaw got married next year, which is very unlikely because no, I'm not. It has nothing to do with you and everything to do with me. I'm telling you, there's a thing that like soon as someone figures out that like your baby daddy is the game, it gets a little tricky for a man because people think they know who I am, right? And so it gets a little, damn, am I gonna have to like catch a fade with this nigga? I know how he feels about his kids, so is he going, do I really feel like doing it? Yes, you're beautiful, and yes, I want to be with you, or yes, I love you, but I think that thought process and that courting stage lasts longer than a year, so it definitely won't be next year.
Right.
They're now co-parenting. When Evelyn asked the game if, like, how he would feel and what he would do if Shanice were to go and get married by someone else, how would he feel about another man being around his kid? And he pretty much said that's not going to happen. He pretty much said in not so many words, because he knows how other men like him think, and he knows that Shanice is just going to go from him to another man like him. They're not going to want her. They're going to go and mess around and use her the way that he did with her and then move on. And Evelyn knows this too, which is why when he said that, she never pushed back. She never challenged him. She never played that protective motherly role of, oh, so you trapped my daughter? You're admitting that you trapped her? She just laughed. She just laughed like, yeah, bitch, that's what you deserve. What do you mean you didn't get pregnant at 17 like I did? So I'm going to find a way to humble you so that you can struggle in some capacity the same way that I did. And this is true because you can't tell me that Evelyn didn't know that a predatory man that you honestly used to mess with would have googly eyes for your daughter. On the flip side, Evelyn probably instructed Shanice to target the game because he's a D-list rapper and would be desperate for her. That's probably what she thought. That's how she sees men. Any man, especially a black man, her being a Latina and specifically, a lot of them go after these D-list loser, a lot of them, not all. They go after these low-tier black men because they know that these low-tier black men will jump at the opportunity to be with them, but they think that some of them think that it's because, you know, it's a badge of honor to be chosen by these guys, and they don't realize that these guys want to use and abuse them the same way that they would any woman, but they just have a preference for you until they move on to a new preference. And this is not to spark the whole black women versus non-black women and you get the same black man type of debate, because number one, and I hope that this is very clear in what I'm saying, a man like the game is not a prize. He is a loser. So Shanice should have never even been in conversation with that guy. She should have just been like, oh, that's the weirdo, one of my mom's weirdo friends that I saw as an uncle, which she said like she saw him as an uncle growing up, which makes this whole dynamic even weirder. But a lot of times black women will get hung up on black men dating non-black women, and then they'll kind of rejoice when things like this happen to them. And it's like, babes, he will turn around and do the same thing to you and will triangulate you. They often triangulate you, black women, with non-black men to fight each other so that you cannot realize that this guy is running game on you both. He is treating you both like garbage because he doesn't respect either of you guys. And a prime example of this was when Megan Thee Stallion was dating that basketball player, and the basketball player's white ex-girlfriend was trying to act like she didn't know who Megan Thee Stallion is and called her Mag instead, and was like, oh, you know, he told me that a woman like her, aka a black woman, is not his type. And she was almost hurt that the black man chose to even temporarily, be with a black woman. So you guys need to get over this beef. Black women and non-black women alike who both choose to date black men, you guys need to get over this ridiculous beef that either of you are better than the other, because you both are being embarrassed and made to look like a fool by black men like the game. But Shanice obviously believed whatever lies her mother told her and allowed the game to impregnate her without a ring. And she was sitting there, you could tell that she was emotional because her voice was shaking throughout the interview. It sounded like she was trying her hardest not to cry. It seems like she was disappointed. It seems like she was expecting a different outcome from the game. He maybe told her or lied to her and said, yeah, I love you, whatever, this is gonna work out. But she shouldn't be surprised by his treatment of her, because the game is a known dog. He's a documented dog. He made his ex-fiance, and I think mother to his 2 children, at the very least his daughter Callie, Tiffany, plan a whole wedding, right? She went and got the dress, everything, paid for everything, just for him to call it off because he knew the entire time that he watched this woman that he claimed to love plan a wedding, that he was not going to marry her. And this was documented for the world to see on that TV show called Marrying the Game. Like, the show was literally about their journey to getting married, and it ran for 3 seasons, so multiple years, before like the final season she realized that the game was just stringing her along, and he had no intention of marrying her. So even if Shanice didn't know this, because this show aired like in the mid-2000s, so she was probably still a child. Evelyn knew this, and Evelyn says her and the game, like, they're close friends. The moment that she saw, I highly doubt that she didn't know that there was some sort of interaction. Even if she didn't know, first of all, when you become a mother and you have a daughter, you need to be careful the type of people that you have around your children, especially men around your children. But number 2, the type of man that you know that he is, you should warn your daughter and be like, don't mess with that guy at all. This is what he did to his ex-fiance, his ex-baby mom. I don't want to see that happen to you. Don't mess with him. And if he reaches out to you, just ignore him and let me know. But Shanice and, quite frankly, Evelyn probably thought that they'd get better treatment, because most women who deal with losers like this are pick-me's. And we've already established that Evelyn is a pick-me. That guy finally picked them. And so that must mean that they have something better than the average woman. Furthermore, when a woman chooses to deal with a known public loser, okay, a man who has a track record for being a loser, being a dog, mistreating other women, and they choose to deal with that man anyway, they are doing so because they think that they're better or smarter than the previous women, and that they will not fall prey to that man's tactics the way that the others did.
I get a lot of comments of people like I'm a child or something having a kid. I'm 31 years old, so let's put that out there. And I just want to make it perfectly clear that I always know what I'm doing, and I have a good head on my shoulders.
Are you surprised that they weaponized the fact that you 2 had a baby against me on the show? Like, I had a feeling it would happen, but like, how did you feel about that? Because
they called you a felon.
Yeah. I mean, true.
Are you a felon?
I am. So I don't feel slighted by someone trying to like throw like my past at me. Yeah, I'm a felon. My mama know I'm a felon. My kids know I'm a felon. My fans know I'm a felon, and that's just what it is. I don't try to duck who I am as a person. You know what I'm saying? Am I in jail? Absolutely not. Made some mistakes in the past. Yes, I have. I was young, a little misguided.
But 9 times out of 10, these women are always, pick-me's are always humbled, regardless of race. Pick-me's are always humbled because they end up getting the same outcome as the women that they thought they were better than, or worse. And in this situation, you can tell that she was clearly disappointed. She found out after like a year and a half of being a baby mom to this man, the type of dog and loser that he was, despite it being public. And it's like, how can you be surprised that the game is a felon when his name, number 1, is the game? What did you think the game was? Fun and games in La La Land? No, babes. Game to the rat game and to the streets. The streets primarily, that's what he came from. He talks about being a blood. That's why he wears red, primarily. That's why he wears red, babes, not because he likes it, but because he is a gangster. He is affiliated, or at least aligns himself, whether it's true or not, with that gang. And so what do you think the outcome is going to be with someone who claims that type of lifestyle? He's more than likely to have a criminal record. Duh. 1 + 1 = 2. And this is the most important thing. I kind of touched upon it at the beginning of the video. Women like Evelyn also instruct their daughters the way that they do to deal with men, and they intentionally create gullible daughters, because it's very clear that Shanice is gullible, because you could tell that she wanted her mom's attention, and so she was willing to do everything to be in favor with her mom. And this is not to kind of cast blame on Evelyn completely, because Shanice is a grown woman. She's 32 now, I think. So she is more than capable of being able, or she should be able to think for herself, but she clearly is operating from a place of arrested development. And so she's clearly not thinking like a 32-year-old woman. She's honestly thinking like she's in her early 20s, because her mother did not instruct her daughter at all. And you can tell that all of her exposure and socialization was with Evelyn. You can tell that Evelyn controlled the type of people that Shanice was able to hang around. And she kind of probably labeled it or masked it as her just trying to protect her daughter and look out for her. But she wanted to make sure that Shanice had no other outside influence, so that Shanice wouldn't wake up to the folly that Evelyn was partaking in. And she wanted to make sure that her daughter was able to follow her path. And Shanice kind of touched upon that again in that clip that I showed previously, where she said, you know, her and her mom used to butt heads, and she's kind of reconciled the issue with her mom. But you can tell that she hasn't, because her voice was shaking again in that clip where she's like, you and my mom are pretty much the same person. She's still very much hurt by her tumultuous relationship with her mother, because she recognized that her mom was not the best mother to her. And nobody's perfect. Nobody's mom is perfect, no matter how good of a mom you have. But there's a clear difference between just being a human being who's trying to navigate life just like everybody else, and being the type of mother that will stand by and watch her daughter get ruined intentionally by men. Evelyn sat back and watched this happen to her daughter because she was living vicariously through her daughter. You can tell that Evelyn and the game has some sort of history, the way that they were flirting with each other.
One of the best looking grandmas on earth.
Thanks, Jay.
No, I mean, you got to give it to yourself. You're 50 years old.
But I have a bone. I have a big bone to pick with you.
Okay.
How did you make me a grandmother before 50?
You know, I remind you all the time of how like good you look at 50, and like not to slight anyone else, but like,
you are so smart and you're so witty.
Okay, she's clearly still attracted to the game, but because she was married to someone else during the height of the game's career, or she just simply didn't have access to him then, like when he was a part of G Unit and then when he did his own solo album, she's now living her fantasy of being with him through her daughter. And this reality is common for many women. Many of you can relate to Shanice's story one way or another, where you were raised by women who do not like you. And maybe it hurts too much for you to admit it, but if your mother is leading you towards maybe making the same mistakes as she did, your mother does not care for you. She may say with her mouth that she loves you, and she may actually genuinely think that she loves you. But if your mother went through some sort of trauma, maybe your dad was a piece of shit and didn't provide for the family, and your mom is telling you to get a man like him, or is telling you to lower your standards, or is telling you that, oh, if you just date him now, like in the future, maybe possibly he'll be a man who can provide for you. I know that's a common talking point that a lot of Black mothers have towards their Black daughters. Do not fall for the same trap, because you will have the same outcome as your mom. Or you'll often hear women of all walks of life complain about how their husband is a piece of shit, and then turn around and ask their daughter, okay, so when are you getting married? When is it your turn to suffer the same way that I did? Because I didn't birth you to watch you have a better outcome than me. I birthed you so that you could follow the circle of life, the way, and follow in my ways and the ways of women before you and before me, so that you can show and demonstrate that you're a real woman by struggling the way that women who look like you struggled. And in many women's case, it's being attached to a man who does not like them. So if you are a woman who is in a similar situation where you're having to deal with a mother who is clearly leading you astray, or you suspect it, you are not a bad person, number one, for acknowledging if your mother is leading you astray. It doesn't mean that you are a rebellious, sinful child. You're ungrateful. Look at all the things that your mother did for you. Your mother did those things for you because she had a legal and moral obligation to care for you. She wasn't doing you a favor. You didn't ask to be brought into this world. She chose to bring you into this world. She has that responsibility. So I'm setting you free from that. You do not need to atone for the decisions that your mother made. But if you recognize this in yourself, or maybe cousin, a friend, a sibling who's going through something similar, you need to go to therapy and have these issues unpacked and unlearned. You need to have boundaries with your toxic mother, whether that's moving out, whether that's getting a job so that you're no longer financially dependent upon her, not discussing certain things with her. So you don't have to discuss your dating life with her, and you certainly don't need to justify the type of men that you date if it's contrary to the dysfunction that she's trying to present to you. Some of you need to cut off your mom, the same way that Jackie's daughter from Basketball Wives cut off Jackie. Jackie's over there calling Shanice a dildo, you know what, but she has a very toxic, tumultuous relationship with her daughter. On the most recent season of Basketball Wives, we saw that play out. And her daughter said, "This is why I don't talk to my mom." And rightfully so. And most importantly, as a woman, you need to be self-sufficient. In 2026, you have no excuse, especially if you live in a first world country. Yes, life has its challenges, but you are still a part on a global scale. You are still a part of the 1% of people in this world. You have access to resources that women of your age in other parts of the world could only dream of, and they will never experience. Do not squander your privilege and the opportunities that you have by listening to your silly pick-me mother tell you that you need to wait for a man to save you. Oh, get married and have a couple children so that man can take care of you. Oh, your man cheated on you and disrespects you and abuses you. Just stick it out and stay with him anyway. So long as he's providing you with a roof over your head, or maybe in some cases he's not even doing that, but he's giving you that clout or that attention that you didn't get from your own mother or grandmother, so that's good enough. No, it's not good enough. You are worth much more than that, and you are capable of so much more than that. Some of you, it may mean a career change. It may mean going back to school and getting further certifications. Some of you have never been to school. You've kind of just worked odd jobs up until this point. Take this video as a sign to better yourself. Your mother's outcome does not need to be your outcome. Especially if you decide to have children, you need to be a wise woman and withhold access to your energy and to your womb. Your womb is a powerhouse because it's literally the portal to life. Do not be giving legacy to men who don't deserve it. I've said this in previous videos. Do not give legacy to men who do not deserve it and who have demonstrated that they do not care about your well-being. They just want to trap a baddie and humble a baddie so that they can feel like a man, because they're not fulfilling their obligations of a man in any other way. Because outside of that, you clearly haven't achieved anything. What has the game achieved? The last time that he dropped an album was like, what, the 2010s? Apparently this podcast, the purpose of this podcast episode was to promote an upcoming album. I don't know. He hasn't done like what 50 Cent did and said, okay, you know what? I'm done performing. I'm going to take this money that I built and I'm going to open up other streams of income so that I don't have to depend on rapping. Talking about I'm a man in my 50s rapping. When are you going to grow up? 50 Cent obviously still recently did a tour, but he did that tour because his fans asked him, because he wanted to, not because he had to. What other stream of income does the game have besides whatever revenue he's getting from music royalties that another man gave to him through G-Unit? So you as a woman should not be enticed by a man like that to the point that you're like, yeah, I'm going to lay down with this man. And you know what? I'm not going to even stop there. I'm going to let that man get me pregnant, and I'm going to give birth to that child. We all make mistakes, especially if you're going through challenges in your life. Maybe you're feeling lonely at the time. Maybe you recently broke up. Maybe you're having to deal with a toxic parent, and the first man who gives you attention is appealing because he's giving you the attention that you wish that you could get from your mom. But at some point you need to snap out of it and say no. And some of y'all are trying to find companionship with men by having sexual relationships with these men, and you say like, oh, I have needs like a man too, I have my needs and my wants, it needs to be fulfilled. What you need to do is go on Amazon and go and get you some toys. And if you're Miss Prim and Proper and you're going to get offended by me saying that, you can go ahead and click off this video. Some of you guys are falling prey to these men because you're HORNY, not because you actually like him or you actually think that he's a good man to be around. You know that he ain't shit. It sounds like Shanice knew that, but she probably fell for the whole BBC pipe dream, pun intended. And then when she finally got it, she was like, oh, well, you know, there's that plus what my mom said. What's the harm in me keeping this baby? The type of man, well, it sounds like she found out some things about him after she got, like on that very episode, like a year after she gave birth. But some of y'all know that the man that you are with ain't shit and you still birth his child. You need to get that taken care of. It sounds harsh, but you know what's harsher than that? Raising a child in dysfunction and poverty and perpetuating generational curses and generational trauma when it could have been prevented. Now your kid hates you and resents you because you gave them a father like that and you raised them in dysfunction. When you could have said, no, they're watching their friends go to school and live in healthy, happy, not perfect, but sustainable two-parent households. And they can't get that because mama didn't love herself enough to say, no, I'm going to choose better. And mama certainly didn't love her unborn child enough to say, you know what? Let me be intentional about the type of man that I have children with because my kids can't choose their father. Or even beyond that, even beyond pregnancy, HIV, AIDS, and STDs are on the rise, especially if you live in the South. Some of these guys they have things and they don't know that they have something, or they do and they're not telling you, and you're catching diseases. Some of them are incurable. Shanice's experience, and many like her, is a tale as old as time. And there are so many women who think that they're going to get a different outcome. Oh, I'm prettier. Oh, I'm smarter. Oh, my skin is darker. My skin is lighter. Oh, I have a better body. My hair is real. Oh, I came from a better household, so he's going to respect me. Babe, Saka doesn't give a shit. He sees you as something to be conquered and then thrown away once he's achieved his goal. And then he's going to go and do it to the next woman who thought the same as you. Anyway, these are my thoughts on the topic. Let me know what you think down below in the comments, and I will see you in the next video.
I'm so in love with myself that I'm at the point that if somebody decides that, oh, I don't fuck with you no more, I'm gonna be like, period. Protect your peace. Good riddance. It is what it is. Period.